Hello, everyone. Welcome to Quirky Inspirations. If you haven't already linked in with us, this is a podcast where we talk to some very inspiring people, and you never know what's coming next, which is where the quirk comes in. I've also been described as quirky in the past, so that's where we marry my quirk, the beautiful quirk of my audience, my guests, and you guys as the listeners, and some inspiration on the way. So today I am delighted to welcome to our stage Drocella Mugorewera. Now, I could give you an introduction, but you know what? I think it's better coming from her. Drocella, tell us a bit about yourself.
I am the diversity trust builder, and I'm building a global movement for business leaders who are committed to championing diversity in action. I believe that there is beauty and strength in diversity, but also many people, millions of people in the world are not treated with respect and dignity by the authorities or the people who are entitled to protect or to lead them. And that should not be that way. And this is why, as a diversity trust builder, I train, speak, and help people to understand why diversity matters. Why should we treat others the way you want to be treated? And as a refugee, I remember when I was a cabinet minister and a former member of parliament, I was treated like a queen. I walked on the red carpet. The doors were open for me in the car. But when I became a refugee, I felt like I was treated like a second class. And there are many people in the world who feel like I felt when I came as a refugee. I'm standing in the gaps for those people who are not getting the right treatment, who are not getting the services they deserve as human beings.
Wow, how's that for an introduction? Well, Drocella, red carpet? Where were you when you were on the red carpet? Tell us more about that.
So I used to travel internationally representing my government. So
and where was your government? Where's your place of origin?
In Rwanda. I am originally from Rwanda.
Rwanda, right.
Now
okay.
I reside in America, in Knoxville, Tennessee, where I came as a refugee in 2009 because of my safety. So when I traveled over the world representing the government and as a member of parliament, that was the red carpet I was going on. But what changed? Drocella of 2006, 7, 8, 9 is the Drocella for today. But when you become a refugee, you lose your identity. People treat you with humility sometimes. It doesn't have to be that way. And I know there are people who are told that they are not worthy. There are people who are told that they are not good enough. There are people who are not promoted and keep training others and share their experiences. I just want to help organizations to write strategies that can help living the values they say they stand for. So by helping them, even having a mantra, how people will know that you are embracing diversity, because it's in your benefit to show people how you embrace diversity, so you are competitive. They feel like, yes, I can go there to work there. I belong there. I feel welcomed.
One of the things that we found here in Perth, I believe I connected you with her. Tracy Cave has the Sisterhood Project here in Perth, And where she's experienced this with a collective group of ladies who are immigrants, migrants, some of them for safety reasons like yourself, and some of them have come voluntarily for a better life. These are professional women who are ending up cleaning floors, PhDs who are cleaning floors. Now, there is nothing wrong with cleaning a floor. However, if you have that level of skill that's not being recognized, as you say, companies are missing out on phenomenal resources. All of things could give them the competitive edge. So can you tell us a bit more about how including obviously men as well as women from different backgrounds could benefit a company?
So I'm glad you asked that question, because when I came, even though I had good experience as a former member of parliament, as a consultant, my first job was $6.55 an hour at Goodwill Industries. I could have transferred those knowledge and skills right away. And I spoke intermediate English. So what companies are missing, even if you English is not like fluent, they can use you in the backstage, and you can work on some stuff. And also what I'm including in training companies is like how the language access becomes part of diversity and inclusion.
Sure.
Because you can give incentives for employees who are there in your workplace to learn the languages. You can also facilitate the people you have to learn English, either at work, or you can send them to English classes. Because when I came, they could have sent me to the business English classes, and I would catch up so quickly. So businesses are complaining that they don't have employees. And also when people, immigrants and refugees in particular, they are loyal. So you will attract loyal employees, and then you reduce the turnover, and then the hiring, over hiring and hiring because of the turnover, you are losing money at the table. So another thing people can do is empowerment. Sometimes you have people with soft skills that are needed, and you have to know how to integrate those soft skills in your company and evaluate and listen to your employees, what they need and what they can do.
I mean, there's so much in terms of the shifting culture that needs to be supported for migrants. There are certain gestures that are used in some parts of the world which are offensive in other parts. And it's those little things and understanding cultural things. I'm based here in Perth, Western Australia, and we have an awful lot of contact with Japanese folks. And I know some speakers who've been to Japan and have felt that they've bombed because nobody was looking at them. Everybody's eyes were down as the speaker was speaking. And they've gone back to the organizer afterwards and said, I don't think I got through to any of them. And the organizer's gone, what do you mean? You've got raving parties. Queue of people wanting to talk to you. Well, while I was talking, nobody was looking at me. Out of respect. Because culturally there,
the culture.
I'm listening.
Yeah. So in some cultures, you don't look into the face of people, which is considered as disrespect.
Yes.
Like in American culture, you should look into the face of the person you are talking to. It's like sometimes you don't shake the hands of women. And when you go into the house, you have to take your shoes off. And then when you build the relationship, this is how the relationship between immigrants and refugees and welcoming communities is like a good mosaic. So when those relationships are created, you learn you give and you receive, and then you build relationships that last forever.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, your eyes are opened. I, as a migrant myself, have experienced the cultural shift. Now, I've migrated twice, once between England and Scotland, and once from Scotland to Australia. And people will think, well, hang on, there's no difference between England and Scotland. Oh, yes, there is. Oh, yes, there is. Culturally, there are some very definite things that you do, things that you don't do, things that you say, oh boy, things that you don't say. The same language here in Australia? No. The words may be the same. I mean, Drocella, we've laughed and joked about this in the past, but there are words that on the surface appear to be the same and yet have a totally different meaning. Yeah.
And this is why some people do mistake to use Google Translate. And sometimes you have a different translation, completely different, the opposite. So, but when people realize that, they say, oh my gosh, yeah.
One of the things I love to do when somebody says something, I will say, can you explain a bit more? Tell me more about that for you. And then I get down to a little bit more of a clear idea, because I mean, communication, we've joked about this in the past, the transference of ideas from my head to yours isn't directly clear.
Yeah.
Because we all have, we've all got different maps of the world. We've all got different filters that we go through. So even teasing out a little bit of, can you explain a bit more? When I first arrived, people were going, what do you mean you don't understand English? Well, no, I do. However, my version of it may be different from your version. So can you tell me a bit more? And they'd come round, and now they just see it as part of my quirk. One of my quirky things. Oh yeah, Wendy wants a bit more info. So
and this is the the beauty of languages and the richness of them. One of the things I am including in my programs is like to advocate for language learning.
Yes.
You know, the children assimilate languages like drinking water. And with our communities being diverse, imagine if the high school, the graduate school, everybody who tried to learn the second language can master it. How many professional, multilingual professional can come up within 1 year? You know, so I think the way I speak 5 languages. I speak French, I speak Russian, English, Kinyarwanda, and Kirundi, and a little bit Swahili.
Wow. Wow. And so there'll be, you'll have examples that you can think of where there's a word in one language which encapsulates the concept beautifully. And you try and translate it to English and it just doesn't work, does it? Yeah.
No.
And that's when you can start introducing beautiful words in other languages to people. And this is how actually English developed anyway, because are you familiar with the word bungalow?
Bungalow, I think I heard about that.
It's a single story house. And there are lots of bungalows in the UK. Now, bungalow is actually a Hindi word, which was absorbed when the Brits colonized India. And
and in my language we say bingalow.
Yeah, because you kind of picked it up from us. I mean, hello, hotel in English is from the French hôtel. And so if language is totally evolving, and forgive me, I'm getting onto my little soapbox here. When language evolves, it is so much richer when we have words from other languages that we can pull in. And that's one of the joys of working with people from other countries, is that you learn those little sayang, which is a real self-care word from Malay. And, you know, that sort of loving yourself, soothing. I think, all of those wonderful opportunities that are there with diversity.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. So
Yes.
how do you work with with organizations in that front? How do people find out about you?
So people find out about me online through LinkedIn, Facebook, but I am a networker. I am a connector. I reach out to people to tell them how I can help them. And then also, like you referred me to somebody who asked me the story and I wrote in the book. And I use referrals as well. And then now also you have partnership. Recently, talking about languages, when I was online with two women, they say, oh, actually, we can teach English as a second language within organizations. So when I was talking about language access in the diversity, and now we are trying to see how we can collaborate, because now collaboration is like the new currency. It's not like competition, but when you collaborate, you can reach out to many people. And referrals, of course, they do work. And I am using my, what they call warm market, the friends who already know. But I am a big networker. And they say your network is your net worth. So through networking, I do get referrals. And I also communicate my message and what I need and how people can reach out to me. And but the online now, through virtual conferences, this is the way to go with COVID. Yeah.
Do you do much video work?
I have now to do that.
Yeah, because
this is part of my strategy. Yeah.
Great, because that's going to be another way that you can get your message out there. Even doing, because I know you're very active on LinkedIn, just doing little snippet videos, because video is what people are looking for.
Yes.
It grabs the attention. And because video shows so much more about you as a person.
Yes.
And we've all witnessed here today, haven't we, audience, that how wonderfully magnetic Drocella is in speaking. So you give people that opportunity to see you in action. And you invite them in and go, come on, let's work together.
Actually, one of my 2023 goals is to be more visible. Great. And video is part of my strategy.
Excellent, excellent. So we've got video coming up. So how we can get hold of you through video, we can access what you're talking about. Are you going to do any training videos as well to almost introduce yourself to companies?
I will use videos as well, because I have to do some recording. You see, when we talk about diversity, also what I noticed is that there are a lot of wounds in people's heart. That because of the history, because of the treatment people did get, I plan to do like a course on forgiveness. And that will be also accompanied by the videos and then the mini course, because now people are saying, hey, evergreen, we have to mix the evergreen technology in one-on-one, in person, so we can reach. Since I'm building a global movement, I have to have multiple strategies to reach as many people as I can reach, because I want to be remembered as somebody who helped the world to heal and to change through diversity in action.
Yeah, so powerful, so powerful. And that's one of the things, isn't it? When you have migrants from different countries coming to, say, America or coming to Australia, very often, if they've left their country in a safety situation, they're bringing the trauma of the sudden forced migration, maybe wasn't of their choice. And if they come across somebody in the company they're now working for, or potentially going to work for, with the ethnic origin of their, quotes, enemy at home, that's another element that the companies need to be aware of, that those traumas run deep. And part of I don't know whether this is part of your program, but addressing those, and you were saying about forgiveness, which is what made me think down that tangent. And I know that you'll be familiar with the work done in South Africa, Mandela and Bishop Tutu, and the truth and reconciliation. That's it. Yeah. And I mean, I'm just thinking about, I've got friends in the US I've got both Ukrainian friends and Russian friends. And at the moment, there is such tension where a couple of years ago, these guys were good mates. And now you think, because it's very difficult to distance ourselves from our homeland and the trauma that's going on there. So can you talk to us a bit about how that would work in terms of the diversity education?
Yes, and we have the same, like the Rwandan, the Burundians, the Congolese. So it's all the same. Those conflicts and those traumatic situations accompany us. And it did take time to heal for me and to be vulnerable, to share the story, because I said also, if I don't, who else will do it? Yes. But one of the things I'm working towards is to help, like when you work on integration and adjustment for refugees and immigrants, we have to include the trauma-informed care in what you are teaching. And then you have to find the words and then the strategies. I think I will talk on one podcast about how to avoid burnout among the social workers and the refugees and immigrants integration. I think I say that you have to learn about them and listen and know about their background, and then clearly define what services you provide and what you are wanting from them. And another thing that is happening here in the US, for example, when they come, they do medical and behavior health screening. And one of the things, when the diversity can come, because within the medical and behavior health professional, there are few of the people coming from those nationalities. So what campaign and advocacy we are doing is also to invite people who look like them and who have the same culture. It's the same, like now we are celebrating Martin Luther King Day. We were talking about disparities in schools. And then what you see, there are few teachers of color who are in the schools. So it's like having a strategy to increase the numbers of professionals who are culturally prepared to understand and to support the people they serve.
Yeah, because I mean, if thinking about it purely from a human perspective, when you arrive in a new country in a traumatized state, and your English, if it's there at all, is not up to explaining what that's been going on. I mean, even if English is your first language, it's difficult in that traumatic state to explain what's happened and to be able to work through that. So having somebody in the receiving end, and I know this is why it's important to have people from your culture as part of the welcoming committee. And also not have little ghettos created, so that there is the inclusion and the welcoming communities. It's a tightrope, isn't it, between integration and feeling safe within a community that you know. And the people have to understand the background, because sometimes you don't want to get close to people who are coming from your area because of the ethnical divisions or other problems. So they have to know the background of the country you are coming from, and then the confidentiality. So sometimes people have to say, hey, I have to
understand that background and stick to the confidentiality procedures and policies. But what you say is very, very important. And another aspect is that, like, the children of us, for example, they have to understand, there is a cultural shock when they come here, and some of lived in refugee camps or other countries for long, and they are confused about different cultures. So we have to educate them about where we come from. So one word I don't like when we talk about refugees and immigrant business is assimilation. You see, I am from Rwanda. I have good values from Rwanda. I have to keep them. And then I embrace the new good values from America, or if I come to Australia, I will embrace the good values. Because I think when you integrate them both, you become a better person. But assimilation is like forgetting who you are and your culture and your identity. For me, I think integration is better than
integration and assimilation. That's a beautiful distinction. And then you see then the concerns of next generation when children of, say, migrants, particularly refugees who have been born in America, are now kind of feeling lost because they've got a foot in both camps, because the parents want them to maintain their cultural heritage, and yet they don't know the history from experience. And you've got that sort of, where do I sit? And there's that disconnect there. So it's such an area for work and appreciation for those of us who haven't migrated.
Yes, and another problem is that sometimes, because the children learn languages so quickly, sometimes they inverse the parenting role. They play the parenting because of speaking the language the parents do not understand. So I do not know, like you in Australia, sometimes when there is a problem, sometimes children just will call, while the parents do not understand why they call, and then when they translate for the parents, imagine you are translating for your parent. You can translate what you want to translate.
And they don't know any different. I know. I mean, my work in the past as a speech pathologist, I've worked in situations where we have had English non-existent speakers, and particularly when children have turned up with a language delay, and we're saying we have an interpreter, and I've said, please be very clear about how you're interpreting this. Don't put your spin on it. Okay, because what I'm asking is a very specific question, and I need to see the response. And it's very, and again, it's that what I'm saying is clear in English. If there's no direct translation, then we get into.
Sometimes you use one word in one language, one word in one language, and then you use a sentence. Especially in mental health area, this is where I saw. Some, like when you say depression, there might not be a translation for depression in many languages. You have to express by the feelings, by the symptoms and things like that.
But I mean, even in the word depression in English, if people have grown up with it, it means something different to everyone. We could talk about so much here, Drocella, couldn't we?
Yes, so we can.
Wait, absolutely. I always love talking with you, my love. So what we're looking at here for you is that you are looking to get your message out to the world, because it's a glib phrase that we live in a global language, a global village. But the thing is, there is so much migration going on, whether it be for economic reasons, whether it be for safety reasons, whether it be for work, as in, I've got a job somewhere else, let's go toddling over there. There's no sense of urgency, no sense of necessity, no sense of trauma behind that. And so every migration comes with its own story. and appreciating those from a corporation, a business's perspective is a very big ask, isn't it?
It is, and they have different skills. You see, there are people who are doctors, they are engineers, they are communicators, they are educators in all industries. So I applaud some companies who are saying, oh, there is a loss somewhere. Now they are developing relationship with the companies and they are developing mentorship. I wish when I came, I could have had a mentor who will show me, who will connect me to organizations. But now with the advocacy we are doing, I know the gaps are still big, but it's good to have people who are self-aware about what we are missing on the table. And this is what I want to bring to organizations who want employees who can be loyal, multi-skilled, and then they can see how they can empower them. And then seeing these people are not takers. They say, we are coming to take. We are bringing, we have a lot of contributions. We are bringing social, cultural, economic values to our communities, and that should be embraced. And then learn from one another instead of just making or creating divisions between the welcoming communities and the newcomers. And I want to tell you and all the listeners, it is hard to leave your country. I didn't sleep for 2 nights when I took the decision to become a refugee. And then when you get to there and they say you are taking from us, I think the scarcity mindset is killing people. We have resources all over the world, enough for everyone. How do we manage them? And if you have a generous gratitude mindset, the abundance come and they follow. You serve and money will follow.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it is also, there's that a very deep-seated, as you said, they're coming to take our jobs. They don't look like us, they don't sound like us, they don't do things the same way as we do. And there's a danger of the welcoming communities not being that welcoming, because there's a danger of, well, how is that going to impact on me? And as you say, it's that opening up to see what's possible. And if you're going into a community that has no experience of even migrating 10 miles down the road, but if they're a very insular community, then that is a really hard job.
And also I wanted to say, like, for faith-based organizations who have the value of welcoming the stranger. I know the fear of unknown is just stopping or blocking graces. When you serve these individuals, you open up opportunities for you in the future. And then with COVID, people not traveling a lot, they did save money that could now serve on many programs for integrating these people, because the needs are greater than what the government only can do. So I am inviting the private sector to really help these people, because they will help them also to build the sustainable businesses.
I mean, as you pointed out, that refugees, particularly refugees, they've come there for a reason. They're not likely to go back again. If people are economic migrants, if things turn up feeling good in their old country, they may well go back again. But in terms of refugees, yes, they very often there's that traumatic element underneath, and I think that could be one of the barriers that companies find or perceive there to be. It's not just the person. It's the person plus the trauma. It's the person plus the mental health condition. It's the person plus the English. and they'll look for all the reasons why not. But as you
But
said,
they have also, their policies say we don't discriminate based on health, religion, origin, language. So how do you live your values? And also, every human being, they have mental health kind of issues, not just refugees. The trauma is in every community, every gender, we all have some trauma that happens in our lives, directly or indirectly. So that should not be something, because also one of the things we see, for example, here, they pass the drug test easily. So yeah, because of the situation where they lived, you know, and they have some comparative advantage. But as I said, and they will be faithful to the jobs. They stay there because, you know, they don't have anybody they rely on, like a family member or friend. They just do the work. They get the work done.
They're going to be hard workers because they appreciate the fact that, I'm saying they, I don't wish to have a them and us on this situation, but my experience of people who have migrated is that there's a real gratitude for the fact that this country has taken me in. I am going to work my butt off.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm really grateful for being here. I mean, and I do speak from experience here, because whilst I didn't come as an economic migrant. I came as a starting my life over again migrant, having lost my husband. So it's slightly different circumstances. However, I'm grateful to Australia for taking me. And
so am I.
Citizen.
So am I for America. And there are many things, even if I came through suffering and pain, but that was the journey to help me to achieve what I could not achieve when I was back home. My children had a good education, and now I'm serving the whole world. You know, it's we have to see the good in the suffering, and there is always light after darkness. And gratitude. You know, I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, and they say we have to be joyful in every moment, because there is a joy, there is a good side, even in the dark, or if you are mistreated. So there are lessons, life lessons in every situation, and we are stronger than those situations.
I believe, I'm fairly certain, it's give thanks in all situations, not for all situations. So the circumstances that I'm in right now may not be what I would like. In fact, it's really quite poopy. I don't like where I'm at. However, if I'm open to it, there will be a lesson here. I'm grateful for the lesson that I'm going to discover, even if I'm not there yet.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And this, as you said, this is where we're going with opening up the message of integration. And it's integration around diversity. As we were talking before we came on record, we're talking about not simply racial integration. We're talking about looking at equality within gender communities, within, I mean, we spoke before we hit record about pregnant women. I mean, when I qualified back in the 80s, they were only just taking out a question on interview of, so are you planning on a family? Because I graduated in 88, and the vast majority of speech therapists in those days were female. We had one fella in our year. So it was considered up until then a legitimate question. Well, no, it's not.
It's not. And even now, people hide the pregnancy when they go to apply for a job.
Yeah.
Because they can be discriminated for that. But imagine if women would say, no more children, no more children, what the world will be. And then I remember back home when we were teaching about gender, if it was your sister, your mother, would you like them to be treated that way?
Mm-hmm.
So if we try to humanize all the things we are going through and see in the lens of how we want to be treated, I think we can change a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
And also people are discriminated because of their gender.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling somebody, and I can ask you this question. If you are believing in a marriage of one man and one woman, and you are a business owner,
mm-hmm.
and there are LGBTQ clients or employees who want jobs, would hire them be against your values?
Ooh, now that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because your values versus the law.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And there are spiritual values too.
Yes.
Because most of the people who are facing this, if they are Christian or they believe in God, we are called to love one another, no matter the background, just unconditionally loving them.
Mm.
And these people have to live, they have to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm.
So yes, it is one of those wonderful situations where looking at how we can treat people as we ourselves would like to be treated. I mean, I'll give you an example. I used to work with people with intellectual disability, many of whom had physical disabilities as well. And one of the things I used to do with carers in workshops was I would take a wheelchair, have somebody, one of the carers, new carers in the wheelchair, and I just come up behind them and disappear off with them. And they were going, hang on, where are we going? I said,
oh,
yeah, feels scary, doesn't it? You haven't a clue. You're totally out of control. What I would love you to do now is next time you're in that situation, go around to the front, talk to the person who's in the chair, tell them where they're going. Eye contact, look at them, be part of an interaction. Oh, and by the way, personal space goes on beyond the wheelchair.
Yeah.
So
one of the best
invading them.
One of the best job I did was working with people with physical disability and one autistic client. Until now, when I sing, when I go to visit them, I didn't know that I can manage the wheelchair, but I did it. But those relationships I built with them, one was calling me mama. Huh? That meant a lot to me. It was priceless because I think she valued the services and the treatment I gave to her.
Yes, because you treated her as you would wish to have been treated. Yes,
and this is what the sense of diversity for people who are afraid. And I understand also, like people who built the company based on family relations, like family businesses. But as time evolved, be open to other skills, be open to other nationalities, be open to people who do not look like you, because they are bringing values and skills and talents to your organization.
So much can open up. So much can open up.
Yeah.
Oh, Drocella, we could talk for ages. Now, one of the things that I'm very keen on is thinking about our internal scripts, the things we say to ourselves. You spoke earlier on about having a mantra with the businesses. Can you talk a little bit about the business mantras, and then let's take it back to you as we finish up?
Yes, when I look up to organization now, when I do organizational audit, I check on the values, I check on the mission and the vision, and then the mantras is what they believe in. So what is your belief about diversity? Why people should come to work to you in your organization thinking that they will feel like they are belonging,
Mhm.
feeling like they are safe. They will be seen, heard, and contributors, employees who feel like their contributions are seen, heard, and they can also be promoted. They can participate in a group. They can give ideas. So helping them to say, I believe in this. This is what I stand in terms of diversity. And then when you put your story behind it on your website, people will say, oh, this is the place I want to work with. Because some websites are built like they are not updated, but people want to see what is in their website, what is in the companies for them. Huh? Yeah,
exactly. So what about for your own personal mantra, if you like, your own internal script? The reason I'm saying this, Drocella, is because I think you do know my backstory, that when I was 2, I had an abandonment experience, that I felt that my voice didn't matter. And that little phrase, my voice doesn't matter, the flip side of it was that everybody else's voice matters, which is why I became a speech pathologist. I didn't know this. My 2-year-old little mantra didn't get uncovered for over 50 years.
Yeah.
I've now flipped that original script. Everybody else's voice still does matter, but now so does mine. So I wonder, have you got any particular internal scripts that are working for you right now? Inspirational mantras, if you like, that you can share with our audience.
So one is, there is a beauty and strength in diversity. So the other one, I say, if you don't invest, you don't harvest. Because not investing in diversity make you not getting where you want to go. So investing in diversity is investing for long-term. It's a long-term investment for your company.
Yeah, I like that. If you don't invest, you don't harvest. Nice. And that, I mean, that, whether you're talking about diversity or any area of life, is a wonderful mantra to have, because whatever you put your focus in expands, as we know.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Drocella. Is there anything else that you'd like to give us just before we finish? Is there anything, any parting wisdom before we finish?
So I just wanted to thank you for having me on this podcast. And for the listeners, my signature talk is about diversity in action. If you know somebody who's looking for a speaker, a coach, and a trainer in that area, please reach out. My email is simple, drocella@drocella.com. And collaboration, referrals, and for those people also who are mistreated, if you are told that you are not enough, these are just the words from other people. You are worthy and you are deserving in the circumstances you are in now. You are bigger than them. You are an overcomer. And I want to work with you. And even if you have fear of, expressing your voice, we can help you. Wendy and I can help you. So just reach out, and the beauty is to come.
Thank you, Drocella. Just to clarify, you do virtual work. So should the company in Australia pick this up, they could work with you?
Yes, I am a global businesswoman.
I know. And now we can hop on planes. It's one thing. But what I'm saying is, are you prepared to do it virtually? Or
yes.
So you're happy to do it either virtually or in person?
Virtually or in person, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for clarifying that. Drocella,
thank you for asking.
Always, my darling, I love speaking with you, and we will speak again soon. But thank you so much for being a guest on Quirky Inspirations.
Thank you. Continue to make a difference in the whole world.
Thank you.